So next we have the node. When we talk about the rack, then the block, now we're going to talk about the node. So the Nutanix node is the single kind of blood server fit into the Nutanix block and contain the compute, the CPU and the memory, where Nutanix block contains the storage SSD HDD in front size. If Nutanix hardware server has a single node, so it would be considered single node or single block with a single node. So this is an example of a different node. So you see right here, this is node. When we talk about node, this is what we mean when we talk about one node. So right here we have four nodes. This is the first, this is the second, this is the third, and this is the fourth node. So this block can support from 1 to 4. That means it can only have one node, and this one is empty, this one right here empty, and this one is empty. We can say that this block have one single node, or it can have two, for example this one right here and this one right here, and we don't have these two other node right here. Or of course, if we have a block that have a very powerful node, it can have a one big node inside this one that consume all the space in the block to have the hardware of one single node. Or the same for the two, it can have two node. This one will take it by one big node, and this one with one big node. So this is the idea of the node. And if you check right here, you will find that every node is separately with its own hardware. So right here you see this is the different slot of the RAM. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, another 4 right here, and of course we have another 4 from the inside. Here you see the GPU. This is the cooling system of the CPU right here. This is the chips and the hardware. This is the network adapter. This is the VGA port, the USB, etc. So the different hardware available in one node. Every node have its own separate hardware, and they don't share any hardware with the other node except the power adapter. We're going to talk about it later. So this node is totally separated to this node. This node have its own hardware, the CPU, memory, RAM, etc., and have its own hard disk from the front side. And the same for the other node. Everyone have its own node. So see right here a RAM memory. Here is it a picture that show the RAM memory connected to this node. 1, 2, 3, 4, and other 4 right here, and some other RAM from the other side. So this is an example of one node. So if we take this node right here, only one node, this is how it look like. This is the block, a file block that contains the hard disk in the front side. If you unplug the logo of the Nutanix block, you see that we have the different hard disk. Every hard disk in a block right here for a specific node. So for example, this one is a 4 node block. So you will find that the hard disk right here for this one, for the node 1, the hard disk in this place for the node 2, the hard disk in this place for the node 3, and the hard disk in this place for the node 4. So every node have its own hard disk. They don't share the hard disk between them. For example, the node number 4 cannot have access to the hard disk of the node 1. It only have access to the hard disk that is exists in the block of the node number 4. Then we have the calling system right here. This is the different calling system. Every node have its own calling system for the hardware and the hard disk. Then the chassis that contains the node. If we take one example of this node, you see right here, this is the node with the hardware. If we check more detail, you see right here, this is the slot of the memory RAM. So you see right here 4, another 4 right here, another 4 right here, and another 4 right here. Then we have two CPU calling. That means this is the CPU calling system. That means we have our CPU in the bottom of this calling system, another CPU right here, then the network adapter right here that is connected in this place. So this is a quick idea about the different node we have in a specific block and in a specific rack. So here you see the network adapter and cable we have in every node. So you see right here, this is a node, we have some network adapter. If we check the network adapter right here, we have different type of network adapter. The one that's come with the technology SFP plus, with 10 gigabytes of speed. That means this is a quad port 10 gigabytes. That means have 4 ports of the network adapter of the SFP port. Then we have the classical one, the dual port 10 gigabytes base T. That means the classical one, the RJ45 port. We use the Ethernet cable to connect to this one with the RJ45 cable. Then we have another type, the same as this one, but this one only have 2 ports, so dual port. We call the one that have 4 ports by quad port or dual port. That means have 2 ports. The same if we have the Ethernet one with the quad port, but the famous one is always with the SFP technology. So this is the other one. You can find this 2 network adapter together in one node, or you can find this one only, or you can find this 2 together with the Ethernet and the SFP plus port network adapter. Then we have the twin AX SFP plus, the 4 meter, this cable that's come with the hardware, the cable that connect this network adapter SFP plus with the switch that support this SFP plus cable. And this is an example of SFP plus transceiver. This is the transceiver of the SFP technology, and this is the cable of the Ethernet, the classical one, RG45. So this is the different hardware we have a node. This is the important hardware for the networking to connect the node with the network.